Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic. When she come into your place, yo, you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick, the critic. When she all up in your city, yo, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it and if she get with it. Let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if it's good and if she dig it, cause she's Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic. She the first to admit it if she can't dig it, cause she's Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic.
Hi, welcome to Rick the Critic, and today is the first day that you get to see the actual Dr. Rick TV show. We're going to change, we're going to do some new things and some different things, but we're still going to stay in line with who I am. Now, I don't know if most of you know that I just earned my doctorate degree, and so now I am Dr. Rick's TV. So when you see Dr. Rick's TV, don't think it's not Rick the Critic, because it's still me. Listen, today on the show, we're going to have some questions and answers, and we're going to talk a little bit about relationships. I have a letter here from Sarah that says that she is contemplating a divorce from her husband because she suspects him of cheating. She says that when he comes home, that he smells of perfume, he works late, and he also, what else does she say? He smells of perfume and he works late. Okay, let's just address that. I mean, because that's really not a lot of evidence for divorce, Sarah. There's a couple of things that could happen. Number one, he could really be working late. Number two, a lot of times, I know that I wear perfume, and when I'm hugging, and I'm a huggy person, I'm always hugging. And so when I'm hugging, I'm sure that that perfume sometimes comes off. Now, we're not saying that he's not having an affair. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that based on what you just told me, that's really not enough evidence to just pick up and start talking about divorce. Another thing that I want to share with you, Sarah, is that everyone needs a good girlfriend. I stand by this. I just believe my girlfriends I'm probably the last one that they call when they're contemplating leaving their husbands, because I'm of the mind that, first of all, you're married for life. It says till death do us part. And I've been down that road before, so I do understand how those mistakes are made. But as we grow, things change. And I think when we're thinking about, I'm thinking about Shaquille O'Neal, I'm thinking about Michael Jordan, I'm thinking about those athletes and other greats that have just divorced their wives, or their wives have divorced them. And in my mind, I think, how do you just walk away from a 13, 14-year-old marriage? Well, what happens is they don't have a good girlfriend. Now, if it had been me, and my girlfriend had called me and she was Shaquille O'Neal's wife or Michael Jordan's wife, my advice would have been, you know what? Just stick it out, girlfriend. Stick it out. First of all, what happens when all of those years that you're together and you're struggling and you guys are just, I'm saying, you're happy and you're struggling together and you're sharing your meals, you're taking a shower together, you're kissing one another, holding each other's hand in public. All of that is when you're struggling. And then all of a sudden you reach a point where everything is good. You don't have to worry about paying the bills. You don't have to worry about all these things, college for the children, all those things that you dreamt about when you guys were struggling together that you would accomplish together. Then all of a sudden those things come into play, and then all of a sudden there's no more. So let me say this, and just kind of think about it, kind of work with me here, because I'm sure that I'm going to get a lot of emails and a lot of letters saying, Rick, but this is the thing. First of all, as women, we think a little different than men. Men think with this, and we think with emotions. We're emotional. We have to we have to feel something. We have to be attached some kind of way. There's got to be something that connects us to something before we actually go out and do things that are deemed inappropriate. Men, on the other hand, don't necessarily think like that. They just kind of get caught up in the moment, and they're very visual. So when they see something, their eyes roam and their mind clicks and things happen. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't love you. It has nothing to do with love. That's the thing you got to remember, women. It has nothing to do with love. When I'm thinking about, when I thought back on Shaquille O'Neal and his wife and others that have, oh, he's cheating and he's da-da-da-da-da. Look, at 50-something or 40-something, and as an athlete, I mean, how much sex can you have? I mean, really, how much can you really have? I mean, I heard an athlete once say, "Oh, I had sex with 1,000 women." I'm clear on. I don't even believe that, because men are built different. They're made different from us. So I just outright think it's a lie. I mean, it probably sounded good at the time when he said it. I don't know who it sounded good to, because in my mind, I thought he was a good candidate for AIDS, and I would never touch him. But in his mind, I guess he thought it was a great thing to say. But my point is that if your husband is having an affair, just like Sarah suspects her husband of having an affair, my advice would be, even if it is true, sit down and talk about it. Don't get hasty about paying attorneys, because those are the guys that really get all the money in the end. The attorneys get the money, the state, everybody that's involved in it, you know what I'm saying, investigators, attorneys, and all these things that you have to come up with, you know what I'm saying, even to bring this case to court, filing fees, all those kind of things. So they get a bulk of your money. And then after all of this is over, then you've got some children, that are kind of caught up in it. And if you don't have children, now you're talking about, his feelings, your feelings. But in the beginning, what happened that when you were struggling, it was okay, and then once you got the money, it wasn't okay? That's the part that I kept playing around in my mind. And what I realize is this. I think at a certain age that we just look back on our lives and we just think, gosh, we should be further ahead than where we are. We should have completed this. We should have completed that. There's some things that we should have done. And we think that we should be at a point in our life. We look for happiness. We look for all these things that we think make us feel good. And the bottom line is this. If you stick it out, it's going to be okay. Okay, listen, he had an affair. Okay, listen, she had an affair. It's not the end of the world. People make mistakes, and that's why they have erasers. I want you to understand that there's a medium. There's a medium after this. There's a way that when you grow old together, you know what I'm saying? When you think of yourself of growing old together with this woman or with this man, and then all of a sudden they've betrayed your trust and they've done this and that. Listen, they betrayed Jesus. I mean, when we're talking betrayal, when we're talking no trust and trust issues and things, we could talk about that all day long, all day long. The point is that you stop what you're doing, you get back on the right track, you stay in your lane, don't lose focus, and head straight ahead. You don't have to end, and I'm talking to Sarah, you don't have to end your marriage because of these suspicions. They could be founded and they could be unfounded. I don't know. But what I am saying is this, is let's weigh the good and the bad out. Let's see if all the good outweighs the bad. We're talking about one affair. Are we talking about a husband that is a protector? Are we talking about a husband that's a provider? Are we talking about a husband that makes sure that, you know what I'm saying, that you're taking care of, a husband that's attentive, a husband that makes sure that you get your needs are met? If we're talking about this kind of guy, we're talking about one thing, Sarah. We're not talking about all of these other things that he's not doing, and this is the one thing that and this is just the icing on the cake. We're talking about, is he a provider? Is he a nurturer? Is he a batterer? I mean, he's not. If he's I didn't hear you say anything about he was hitting you. I didn't hear anything about he was inappropriate with you or with your children or your family. I heard that these are suspicions, and suspicions that I think warrant a little more investigation or a little more understanding. The perfume, as I said before, I can't tell you enough how many times my ex used to come in with smelling like perfume, and automatically, I'd look at him and then I'd think, that's my aunt's perfume, or that's my grandmother's perfume, or that's, or one of his coworkers may have hugged him. There's a lot of explanations for that. So what I'm saying to you is, before you jump the gun, before you throw your marriage out the window and just say, listen, this is it, I want to see a divorce attorney, think about it. Think about the whole thing. Look at the whole entire picture and understand this, that if you can make it through this rough time and you can continue on, this is the person that you're going to grow old with. This is the person that you're going to travel with. This is the person that you can eventually look at and laugh. This is the person that when you're lying in bed together and you're laughing and the children are gone away to school and it's just the two of you, and you can get up in the middle of the night and say, you know what, I think I want to take a trip to San Francisco. Let's go to San Francisco and have breakfast, or let's jump in the car and ride up the coast, or let's get on an airplane and take a trip to Europe. This is the person. All your dreams, all the desires, everything that you had in the very beginning when you guys sat down and decided you were going to make a life for yourself, those things are still very important now. So think about that, Sarah, and I don't want to labor too long on it because I just want you to think about what you're saying and how you want to actually approach this. All right, gosh, I hope we didn't do too much. We're going to go to a commercial, and then we're going to come back, and we have another question from from a young lady that has a job situation. Okay, thanks. Look, come on, go get your stuff and come back.
Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic.
Sun exposure starting in childhood is a major cause of skin cancer. That's why you should apply a high SPF sunscreen and keep your kids covered up whenever they're outside, not just at the beach or pool. Protect your children from the sun. They'll thank you for it someday.
Hi, you're back. Good. I hope you got your water and your juice and your sandwich and all that kind of stuff. If you're just tuning in, we're just talking about, Sarah wrote saying that she suspected her husband of having an affair, and we addressed that. And now we're moving on to our second question. And again, if you're just tuning in, now we're at Ask Dr. Rick TV. So when you see Rick the Critic, or Dr. Rick's TV, don't think it's not me. It's still me. We're just moving on to a different format. Everything, I'm still talking, and it's the same. So just stay with us, and it's gonna still be exciting. Don't don't think it's not. Anyway, our second question comes from Milton, and Milton asks, he says, Dr. Rick, I love my job. I love what I do. The pay sucks, but the job has everything that I love. I have a chance to work in the community. I have a chance to build relationships in the community, and I'm actually doing the job. Oh, wait a minute, Milton. Milton says he's actually doing the job of 3 people, and the pay is only for 1. And Milton says, what should I do? I don't want to leave my job. You know what, Milton? That's a good question. A lot of times, the big thing is that most people